A deadly scooter crash leaves a family without a son and another with a son in jail. The mistakes made leading up to the crash.
And a giant prehistoric fish caught in Oklahoma almost never made it into the record books. What this angler had to do to reel in the 170-pounder.
Homeowners insurance rates in the metro on the rise. We've got your back tonight with the ways you can save. The news starts now. We begin with breaking news tonight in northeast Oklahoma City. This is where fire crews are working to put out a small fire inside a home. This is near Northeast 23rd and Prospect. You can see it's still a very busy scene, but the main portion of the fire is now out. We're working to find out if anyone is hurt and what started that fire, so stay with Fox 25 for any updates.
Fox 25's McKenna Eubank took that information to the experts.
And McKenna, you've got our back now with ways to make sure that we're actually getting the best rates.
Yes, Wendy, we sure do. Now, keeping close communication with your insurance agent is one huge factor in making sure you're paying only for what you need. But knowing what to ask and what to opt out of is sometimes the hardest part.
McKenna, thank you. Here in Oklahoma, you might want to add flood insurance or earthquake insurance. That coverage is not included in most homeowner policies. A zombie-like deer disease now confirmed in Oklahoma. An elk from Lincoln County tested positive for chronic wasting disease. It is the first positive test since 1998. The disease does not have a cure or a vaccine, and it's deadly to deer, elk, and moose. The neurological disease affects the brain of deer, similar to mad cow disease. It can be transferred by scavenger species like crows and vultures. The disease poses a risk to the entire ag industry. The elk that tested positive for the disease was part of a farmed herd. No cases have been found in free-ranging wild deer or elk in Oklahoma. However, the Department of Wildlife will be stepping up surveillance in areas near where this elk died. We've got your back tonight with how you can help prevent the spread of this disease. The Department of Wildlife says the best thing is to properly dispose of carcasses. If you're a deer hunter, make sure you bury the carcass where it was harvested. It needs to be deep enough so scavengers can't get to it. Never leave deer remains in water. Don't burn the carcass. Only commercial incinerators are hot enough to destroy the disease. Oklahoma City fire investigators still working to find out what caused this home to catch fire this morning. A man who was inside is recovering tonight from burns on his hands. Crews say the fire started around 8 near Southwest 35th and Villa. Firefighters tell us there were no working smoke alarms in that home.
Oklahoma schools can now add education about consent in a relationship to high school sex education classes. Governor Stitt signed that bill this week.
A similar measure called Lauren's Law once again failed to make it to the governor's desk. Fox 25's Connor Hansen spoke with advocates behind Lauren's Law today. So Connor, what is the difference between these two bills?
Andy.
Connor, thank you. Yes All Daughters says girls ages 16 through 19 are at the highest risk of becoming victims of sexual violence. OHP is updating their tattoo policy. Before now, troopers with arm tattoos had to cover them up with sleeves. Now those sleeves are no longer required. Tattoos can be uncovered as long as the tattoos don't violate policy. Charges now filed against the man accused of beating his pregnant girlfriend to death. The Tulsa County DA charged Colby Wilson with 2 counts of first-degree murder and a count of felon in possession of a firearm. Police arrested Wilson last week after officers say he beat Alyssa Fielding, who was 6 months pregnant at the time. Both Fielding and the baby did not survive.
Scooter crash.
And we've got your back with ways you can stay safe on those e-scooters.
A developing story tonight. A man is now behind bars arrested in connection to a deadly crash involving a 5-year-old on a Lime scooter in Tulsa.
Renier Davison turned himself into police this morning. Police say Davison drove away from the scene after hitting and killing 5-year-old Cadence Ortiz. The child was riding on the scooter with his mother. Tonight, we're hearing from Davison's family. His uncle says he's the one who convinced his nephew to turn himself in. Police say Davison was driving on a suspended license. He is now jailed on a $10,000 bond, facing charges of leaving the scene of a fatal crash. We've got your back tonight talking with folks at Lime about their scooters. When you get a scooter through the app, it will remind you about the rules every time you ride. Lime says you must be 18 years or older to rent a scooter, and only one rider is allowed on the scooter at a time. The company also encourages everyone to wear a helmet. Oklahoma schools setting new academic standards for students and teachers. From pre-K programs to professional development, the state superintendent says they're focused on training and innovation in the classroom.
Fox 25's Erica Stanish reports on how some say this is just the beginning to making Oklahoma a top 10 in education. This is tonight's Project Oklahoma.
We've got your back tonight with new concerns about vaping. A new study shows bacteria and fungal toxins may be living inside e-cigarettes. Dozens of popular e-cigarette products, such as cartridges and refilling liquids, were found to be contaminated with the toxins. They can cause asthma, bronchitis, and lung disease. Fruit-flavored products showed the highest amounts of the deadly endotoxin chemicals. A push to expand health care coverage in Oklahoma. More than 100 people rallied today at the state capitol, organized by Together OK. This was an effort to call on lawmakers to expand health coverage for the more than 100,000 currently uninsured Oklahomans. Together OK says Oklahoma has an opportunity to expand Sooner Care, or private health coverage. 90% can be paid for using federal dollars. A new incentive to get kids to go to school. The two rewards being offered along with these brag tags. That story is coming up.
As tight as budgets are for Oklahoma schools, one teacher is asking for money elsewhere.
And she's using it to fill up a cart. Chris Stanford introduces us to our STEM Teacher of the Month. That was Chris Stanford reporting. You can watch Mrs. Stewart receive her award tomorrow morning on Living Oklahoma.
To the zoo.
Hey, I like that. We should do that kind of
Love
program
that.
here at work.
You and I would show up more often. I'm kidding.
We're always
All right,
here.
an E.
Come on.
coli outbreak threatening more states tonight. The 2 ways you can protect yourself.
And an expansion in the investigation into faulty airbags. If your car is at risk of not having its airbags inflate in a crash, we'll let you know next. Working hard to improve your credit score. Your score's range is just as important as the number itself. This is a look at Experian.com, where you can see exactly where you land. Credit scores are important when it comes time to buy a car or a house. The better your score, the more likely you are to get approved for a loan and have the lowest interest rate possible.
Fox 25's Mary Garcia's got your back with when your score is considered good and why it might not be good enough.
No cases have been found in Oklahoma, but we've got your back tonight with a warning to be cautious when eating ground beef. An E. coli outbreak in the tainted meat now spreading to more states. The CDC says more than 150 people have gotten sick in 10 states from ground beef served at both restaurants and in homes. 20 people had to be hospitalized. No one has died. The CDC is now working to identify the supplier, distributor, or brand of beef that's making people sick. You can prevent the spread of E. coli by cooking ground beef thoroughly. That's to at least 160 degrees for the internal temperature. You should also wash your hands before and after preparing the meat. Look who's here. Chief Meteorologist Jeff George stepping up to
Surprise,
Been here a while.
talk
Yeah.
some weather for us. We made it halfway through the week and now even looking ahead to the weekend.
Yeah, you bet. And there was so much cloud cover today, it kind of made you nervous to do anything outside because it looked like it was going to rain any minute. It turned out the clouds were clowning us.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what that means?
by clowning.
Yeah,
clowning
you know,
clouds.
Clowning
Yeah,
clouds.
I mean they were fooling us.
Fooling us.
Yeah, just so you know. Yeah, in case you missed, that's what the kids are doing, right?
Okay.
All right. So anyway, but I hope you did not cancel too many outdoor plans because most of us did.
An early exit for the Thunder in the playoffs. Myron's breaking down what went wrong.
And there's a new way to get your. Law enforcement in El Paso County, Colorado, are claiming there's a dark side to the legalization of marijuana in the country.
They say legal pot there has opened the door to organized crime and cartels. Yummy Virgin reports from Colorado. OU Stevenson Cancer Center will soon expand their clinical trial program.
Yeah, today the National Cancer Institute gave the center a more than $10 million grant to do just that. Leaders at the hospital say the center has been #1 in the nation of the last 2 years when it comes to the amount of patients participating in clinical trials.
There will soon be a new way to get your packages from Amazon. If you're a Prime member, you will now have the option to have packages delivered directly to your garage. We've got your back with how it works. So first, you're going to need to check to see if you have a compatible garage door opener. Amazon has a tool to check on their website. You'll also need the Key by Amazon app, which will allow you to control access to your garage. Now, when you check out, all you have to do is select the in-garage delivery option at checkout, and the driver will leave your package safely in your garage. What a world.
Definition for the word snowflake.
Oh, no.
I love this one, which I would refer to as Jeff, but it also refers to as
Hey.
an overly sensitive person.
Now, what if you're like an overly sensitive person who
Who's
goes
swole?
to the gym?
Yeah, you're a swole.